All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is John Perot, and I'm joined by my colleague on the bottom of your screen, Tristan Corzelius. We are here to present time management in college so that you can make the most of your college years. As with all of our webinars that we posted, we encourage you to comment below all of your different questions or any ideas that you have about time management. We'd absolutely love to hear from you. And of course, as you make those comments, we'll be sure to feature them toward the end of the webinar. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into time management during your college experience. So as most of you know, time is a finite resource. There's only so much time that you get in a specific day, and that's all that you get. Let me change one thing real quick here. There we go. And it can be very, very challenging to have to balance school, work, and fun. And it's not an easy task by any means. Being able to do this is something that's very, very confusing. So that's why it's so important that you understand how to manage your time. But what does time management what is that all a part of? Time management essentially is a way that we utilize our time in order to maximize the productivity. And the important part is that we do this in order to obtain long-term goals. So time management isn't just to manage your time during a certain piece of the day, like, oh, you have homework to do, so I have to manage my time just for homework, and the rest is kind of whatever we want it to be. Time management is important because it affects our long-term goals. It affects how we're going to get there. Now, it is important for small tasks, but again, it's that long-term broadness of things that we're looking to have. So essentially, we've come up with 5 easy strategies as college students for you to be able to see how your time management plays out. And they're pretty easy to walk through. So we're going to bring Tristan back on, and Tristan's going to start walking us through the first part.
Yeah, absolutely. And like John said, these are strategies that, as college students, we found that work best for us and, through other friends, how to manage your time. Because, time management really is about getting kind of the stuff you have to get done in an efficient time. So you have more time to hang out with friends. You have more time to do the stuff that's important to you. And beginning with that right away is planning. So if you plan ahead, that leaves, exactly when everything is scheduled, and it'll help you be much more efficient with your time. So one cool way to do that is with calendars and planners. I know as a visual person, I like to see where everything is. Obviously, it's different for everybody, but calendars and planners have a really good way of kind of bringing a level of organization. That way my planning makes a lot more sense. And then make goals for the week on Sunday. Sunday is always kind of used as like a nice reset day, or planning for the next week. You're about to start another week of classes. You can review how you did on your goals from the last week. What are some ways you procrastinated or some things you didn't get done? How could you get better? And then go ahead and reschedule those new goals for next Sunday. It's a constant ongoing process. And then also the to-do list versus action plans. So what this is to-do lists are more like everyday like tasks that just need to get done, and to-do lists tend to be a lot longer and more detailed than action plans. I prefer an action plan setup because it's more just kind of divided into chunks of what I need to do for the day, instead of having maybe like 15 different little things that have to get done. I like maybe would break it up into 5 major things and major areas that really have to get done, and then work within those areas. So moving on to strategy number 2.
And hold on one quick second, Tristan. I just want to talk about the calendar piece too. Some people prefer written calendars, and some people prefer phone calendars. So don't be afraid to try each of those out, especially as you start, whether you're starting in your college career or maybe you're already in college, or if you're just in high school still. Try the phone version, try the written calendar version, try a to-do list, and then try an action plan and kind of find out what's right for you. So as we go on, I should have mentioned this earlier, but as we go on, these are just suggestions. You have to really find and fine-tune exactly what you like. All right, Tristan, I'll give it back to you. Sorry.
No problem. Absolutely. I mean, just like what he said, I like to use like a traditional planner that I actually write things out. But with my calendar, I use that right on my iPhone. That's easiest for me. But moving on to strategy 2, remove bad habits. So first off, eliminate or reduce social media use. We all spend a lot of time on social media. And what I like to try to do with social media is, I know that, everyone uses and everything. I like to consolidate that time. I like to condense it as much as I can. So if I have a lot of work to do and I still want to catch up with my friends, see what's going on social media, I will only limit it to like, a 15-minute period once a day, or maybe, it begins with identifying how much you use it, and then whether that's not worth your time. Second is remove yourself from time suckers. So these could be anything from like, video games, shopping, any type of entertainment, or any task that you spend more time than is worth your time for yourself. Now, this is all still completely relative. If video games are really important to you and you really enjoy them, then definitely take the time to do that. But other things that may take a lot more of your time, try to identify them, as you experience them. Sometimes we're not even aware of some of the biggest time suckers that we have in our lives. Also, we have identified other things that you waste your time on. And this could be anything. This is relative for anybody. But these are some of the kind of the things that are kind of added luggage to us that we want to get off. That way we can be more efficient with the more important things. So going on to strategy 3, don't procrastinate. You shouldn't do it, but you choose to do it anyway. I'm pretty sure John put that bullet on there for me. I completely get it as a procrastinator, but as a procrastinator, you have to remind yourself that if getting things done earlier and being more efficient with your time just opens up more time for you to do the things that are important, the things you want to work on. So go ahead and time yourself, see how long it takes you to do certain tasks, and try to stay, within those limits. And sometimes it's easier just to do the hard tasks first, and the easy things last. I know this is still a little bit relative for some people. Maybe they want to get like one little quick thing done just so they get the ball rolling, so they don't avoid the hard thing and then everything doesn't feel like it gets done. But sometimes it's better just to attack the hard task right away. That way you feel a lot less stressed and you have a lot more free time to do all the easy things, even if they are fun things that you just plan to do. And then do things when you know you need to do them. Don't just do it later. And one of the crucial parts about this I've noticed in college is be specific with the time. Whether it's for yourself or time management with a group, it always helps to be specific. Like if you're doing a group project and everyone says, okay, we can just meet and talk about this part of the paper next time, be specific. Sometimes later never happens because you never actually put a specific time or date to it. So that's a great way you can do that. So strategy 4 here, time management and being your most efficient self means taking care of yourself physically and mentally. So go ahead and exercise, get up and move sometimes. Northwood here and a lot of other colleges have great facilities and great clubs where you can be active and still have fun with it. You don't just, we do have gyms, but you don't just have to go to a gym and force yourself to do an exercise you don't like. Find what works best for you. I know as a high school athlete, I was pretty active. And then when I wasn't good enough to be a college athlete, when I go to college, I had a lot more time and I was sitting around a lot more. So you do have to take care of yourself and find ways that you can exercise and enjoy at the same time. Get enough sleep every night. 7 to 8 hours is ideal. This is very important. And it's kind of like the underlying resource that you have that you don't really, we kind of take it for granted about, how proactive it actually is, but getting enough sleep, study after study has shown how important that actually is for your mental and physical health. Stay hydrated. You'll see a lot of Northwood kids going around with water bottles, reusable water bottles. It's a great way just in between classes. Make sure you're staying hydrated. And then take a break every once in a while. We don't have to be productive 100% of the day. We just have to be very efficient within those timelines so that we can take a break, enjoy, relax, have fun with friends, and then spend some time away from the computer or phone. That is always pulling our attention in so many different areas. And have some time just to yourself or just with friends to truly be present and and enjoy just the moment. And that will truly keep you physically and mentally healthy in check.
All right, thank you, Tristan. And now I'm going to talk about strategy number 5, which is to organize your life. Now, I'm a very organized person, but I've worked with a lot of people who aren't necessarily what I would consider to be organized. But there's definitely ways for both groups of people, whether you are organized or aren't organized, to be able to organize your life enough to make everything simple and make everything really streamlined. And the first part of that comes with cleaning your room and just eliminating junk. And I know that's hard for a lot of people, but we all have stuff that we just don't need that we keep for a really long time. and we haven't used it for probably years and years and years, that you can just eliminate and get it out of your life, because it ultimately starts with you. You have to choose to clean your room and eliminate your junk. And the great example I like to bring to this is, I'm sure there might be some of you on the call, if you're at a desk right now, or say you have a desk in your home, if that's really empty, the way that that matches on your computer is the same exact way. So if your desktop on your computer is very clean, there's not a lot of files or anything on it, you're typically a pretty organized type of person. If you're the type of person that has all kinds of stuff on your desk, chances are on your computer, you're also going to have all kinds of stuff on your desktop. So it kind of matches. So when we say clean your room and eliminate your junk, that is not just necessarily your physical items. That also includes your computer. And with that, use your email as a way to kind of harness some of that organization. You're going to notice that in college, you're going to be getting a lot more emails than you've probably gotten in high school. You'll get probably 10 to 12 important emails a day, especially if you start getting on-campus jobs and you start working. You're going to be really actively using your emails. So that organization also includes your email. Create folders in your email, and then the important part of that is to delete emails as they come in. That way you don't get behind. I'm sure there's many of you on this call that have 14,000 plus emails that are, if you have an iPhone, they pop up on the bottom, and you have all those that just listen. That list keeps getting longer and longer and longer. Take the opportunity to clean through those, delete some of the junk, unsubscribe from some of those places, because it's not necessarily bothering you, at least in the forefront, but it might actually be cluttering your life with just extra things that you don't need to be thinking about. The next part of organizing your life is to be early to class and meetings. And this is going to be really, really crucial to a successful career in college, and a successful career in general. You're going to want to be early to every single class. You're going to want to be early to every single meeting. Early for some people can vary. Some people it's 10 minutes early. Some people it's 1 minute early. But the important part is to be there early, regardless of which version of early is yours. You never know what's going to pop up. You never know if you're going to be driving to school one day and get a flat tire on the side of the road. You never know if all of a sudden you go outside and there's a blizzard and everything's bad. You didn't pay attention to the weather. So be early to those classes and meetings. It's going to bring you less stress because you're not going to be worried about having to be there on time. Instead, you're already going to be there. And finally is to find a method for organizing that is best for you. As we've been stating through this whole presentation, time management is really unique for every single person. The way each of us manages our time is completely unique because we're all unique individuals. If there was one way that worked and it could be applied to everybody, I'm sure they'd be a New York Times bestseller. They'd have the #1 book on earth. It'd be Time Management 101. And unfortunately, that book just does not exist. So it's up to you to kind of craft your style about how you're going to organize your life and how you're going to be able to achieve what you would like to. So to remind you, and this is a great time if you have any questions to ask them at this time. As a reminder, these are our 5 strategies. So if you're going to take a screenshot, if you're going to take a picture with your phone, this is definitely the slide I would recommend. Again, to wrap up, the first one is plan ahead. Take time on Sundays to organize and prepare everything together. The second one is to remove those bad habits. I don't think Tristan talked about it too much, but we actually made the decision last year to delete social media apps from our phone. So all I think we have is Snapchat, and I think that's honestly the only social media app that we have on our phones. We deleted Facebook, we deleted Twitter, we deleted Instagram, because we realized in our time management, those were really, really bad habits. If we were bored one day, we just spend endless hours just swiping through, and we were able to cut our screen time down, and we were able to create that healthy habit. So we removed those literally from our phone, and that really helped. The third one is definitely don't procrastinate. Procrastination is such a bad thing. Everyone does it at some point. Even people, I consider myself to be organized. I procrastinate sometimes too. Don't procrastinate. You shouldn't do it. It does take a long time to adjust, but it's something that you just have to do. The next one is to keep physical and mental health in check. Exercise is important. Ultimately, your sleep is really important. And finally is to organize your life. Get everything together that you have to. Remember, you have dreams, and those dreams are completely achievable, but you have to want to choose how to reach them. So if you really struggle with time management, if you have a lot of dreams to accomplish on Earth, you've got a very limited time. Time is a finite resource. So do what you're able to get there. And with that, we're going to open it up to questions. If you have any questions or comments that you'd like to share, just use the comment section below and we'll answer your questions live on the air. And as with all of our webinars, you don't have to just ask them about time management. Tristan and I are happy to answer any questions that you might have about college life, about life at Northwood University. We are happy to answer any and all of those questions. So we'll wait for those to come in just a little bit. Tristan, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, so I mean, time management is one of those things that it is always talked about because truly mastering it will open up a lot of doors for people. But I do know I used to stress out about a lot, and I still stress about how I utilize my time today. But ultimately, it is a practice. It won't be just like a flip of the switch, and you shouldn't discourage yourself. If you're not picking up on those things right away, but it is a practice, and you give it effort, and you give it effort over time. And it really is like a learning curve. You have to learn, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and have friends around you that really challenge, how you spend your time. Sometimes you can be blind to how you actually are doing with your time management, and you might only be doing the stuff that you think is important, but someone else might, also help, challenge you on that. So, like I said, it's absolutely a practice.
Perfect. And we did get one question in here. Essentially, the question is, do you have an example of when you got burned by not utilizing time management? I think we both do, but Tristan, I'll have you start.
I can't remember exactly what I got. I think it was after finals week, my sophomore year. Um, Freshman year, you really do you have a lot more time than what you're used to. And so you start just getting involved in things outside of class and you start getting the hang of class. But I remember it was right. I didn't realize I was quite burned out until I got home for winter break. And I just like slept for a week straight. And I like, oh, wow, this is what it like feels to be back to 100%. And a lot of that just kind of came down to is, I was kind of picking up on time management. But looking back, I really was very disorganized and I definitely made it a lot harder on myself. And I ultimately think that led to me getting burnt out like for that finals week because I had class. I was involved in different clubs. I was trying to, stay in shape. I was doing work for Northwood and for other jobs that I was doing. And it really does kind of condense in on you. So, I mean, we always like to say, like, however good your time management skills are, they get put to the test, during the last couple of weeks of school when everything's are starting to become due. And it's just how good you are at managing that time that will, make it easier or work against you and make it harder. So.
That's a great example. And I think there's a lot of students going through that right now, both college and high school. So don't feel like you're alone if you're out there. Finals times are very stressful times. And in college, it's the same type of thing. It's not just the final exam that you're going to take, it's all the projects and things that lead up to it. You have presentations in a lot of different classes. You have big papers due. I know Tristan, I think, turned in almost a 40-page paper the other day with his group. So there's a lot of things like that that go on. So having that time management and starting to build those skills early on in the semester or in high school is very, very crucial, again, to your success. For me, I've been burned out a few times, not too many times, but thankfully. But for the times I have, I mean, it's very, very stressful. You get overwhelmed. You don't know what to do. As Tristan said, you start sleeping a lot, or sometimes you do the opposite. You start staying up really, really late, and then you realize, it's 3 or 4 in the morning, and you have to be up because you got a presentation at 7 a.m. in the morning, and then it's too late, and presentation doesn't go well, and things just kind of slip away. So it's definitely important to have good time management. We did get another question as well. How often do last minute opportunities pop up at college? Well, I can touch on that. Um, there are a lot of last minute opportunities, and I like to think of them as kind of like an add-on, a quick add-on, very, very quickly. So, for example, if say you're studying, say you plan in your mind, and this actually happens to me a lot. Say you're planning in your mind that you're going to be able to work on your homework for the rest of the night because your friends aren't really doing anything. They're not going to the movies, they're not doing anything. And then all of a sudden somebody walks into your room and says, hey, every so-and-so and so-and-so, we're all going to a movie together, whatever new movie it is, do you want to come with? It's very hard for you to say no. You're just very naturally want to say, oh, yeah, absolutely, I want to have fun. And with time management, you're able to take advantage of those different pop-up opportunities that happen because you have time management skills. Because if you planned your time accordingly, you have kind of not built-in time, but you do have time because you know how long tasks are going to take. You know that if something does pop up, that you know the next section of time that you can build that into. So very good question. There's lots of last-minute opportunities like that that pop up during college. Tristan, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with exactly what you said. There's a whole bunch of stuff like that we call pop-up opportunities that will happen. And it's even if you don't, do time management, either way, it doesn't work because you're either going to go to the movies and not get the assignment done, or you're going to say, "Oh, I have to get the assignment done. I can't, go out. I can't go do this with friends or whatever it is." And so either way, you kind of lose out on it. So it is trying to be efficient within those times where you can kind of plan that everyone's working on their class or everyone's working on stuff, and you don't normally hang out at like 8 o'clock in the morning, so you can get up early, you can get stuff done, that way you are available during times like that.
Perfect. All right, well, it doesn't look as if we have any additional questions. If you do have them, please use the comment box. But as we start to wrap up, again, time management is all about trying things and seeing what works for you. Some people are very organized people. They're naturally good at time management. Work on how you can do better with it. If you're the type of person that's not necessarily good at time management, but you know that you need to develop those skills, try a few small things. Try to write a to-do list and see if it works. Try an action plan see if it works. Try to exercise more. Try to exercise less. Reduce social media time. Maybe you spend too much time at the gym and you could, cut your phone use in between doing different exercises. Try to think of unique ways to make your time management great because it's going to be essentially important in college. You really have to have your time management skills all together because with student organizations, work, and school, there's definitely a lot going on. So again, thank you all so much for joining us. And if you have any additional questions or you want a virtual campus tour or anything like that at Northwood University, just visit northwood.edu. Thanks, guys.